Hello everybody, welcome to this short live session because ChatGPT now gained support for GPT-4 model, which is quite exciting, and it's available for the Plus subscribers of ChatGPT. So I can try out many things now, at least, or in the space of 100 messages, which is kind of limiting, but still it's kind of exciting. So if you have any ideas or any prompts you want me to try out on ChatGPT, I will happily do that. Hello MCNets, thanks for coming and joining. What I will start with, just something fun before someone posts some ideas. I will ask ChatGPT to generate some poem. Hello cat. So please write a poem about about yourself, actually. Let's see. Oh, that's quite a short one. Hello, Trico. So feel free to post any ideas for prompts to try out in this session. So this is definitely much longer than the previous response. Quite nice. Okay. Okay. Make it haiku. The question is, what's the stuff about images support? I think it's gonna happen, but it's not yet at least it's not available yet, at least in ChatGPT. At least I don't think so. There is no post image button or something like that. Can you generate images? No, it's just text-based, but oh yeah, I can try to ask if it has access to the internet. Okay, so it does not have real-time access to the internet yet, and it seems that it is trained on the same corpus of information as the previous GPT 3.5 model. So it's September 2021. This is just interesting. I thought it would be updated. So it's not apparently. So any other ideas, questions that I can ask? One fun thing that is usually interesting is when you make ChatGPT to answer as Eminem. So oh, okay, so it's not really all right. Form of song. Okay. classic ChatGPT move, yes. Hello, Vladimir? It's classic. Actually, there was a very fun song generated about cats in the form of Eminem song, and it was then also like synthesized into a song actually with Eminem's voice. So it was very fun. It's available on YouTube somewhere. So, any questions that I can ask? Any ideas? Oh yeah, for this restreaming, there is Restream.io service available that allows you to restream between multiple different destinations actually. So if you can edit destinations, so you get many destinations, and there's many available which I'm not using even, so very interesting and useful thing. And it takes care of all the editing of like adjusting the bandwidth so that the service can handle it and so on. So it's very nice. Yeah, okay. I guess it's very similar, at least if it does not have access to the internet like the Bing AI, then it's gonna be probably quite limited as compared to Bing. But yeah, it should be more capable and make less mistakes. So if you take a look here, you have now access to 3 different models. The old one, the one that's optimized for speed, but there is also ChatGPT, GPT-4, which is now better at reasoning as compared to GPT 3.5, and has better consciousness. So it should be better. You can see that in terms of speed, it's slower than the currently available GPT 3.5, probably for rate limiting, so that it just doesn't get overwhelmed by initial demand, I guess. So let's try something that could surprise it, or something that it could not handle well. Some ideas? I mean, usually mathematics was problematic, so some kind of mathematical equation or something like that. Yeah, interesting. I mean, it will definitely affect many jobs, but I don't think it's gonna replace them completely. It's gonna gonna be an addition to the job, so you will be able to optimize your work by working with alongside with ChatGPT, asking questions and getting results back. But it's not completely accurate, so you can still hit issues, and then you need to be the one that understands that the question, the answer is incorrect, and you need to fix that. I've hit that many times with like software development questions where it generated a code which wasn't actually compilable, or it had issues like not enough validation, or it did not handle like the indices correctly. So it was trying to index from 1, not from 0, or it didn't understand like these small nuances that are only really currently handleable by a human. So you still need to be the one that makes sure that everything is correct. So even though it will simplify many things and improve your efficiency in many cases, I still think we need experts and people who understand things to actually validate what the AI is doing and what it's outputting. So, I mean, the current firing of employees from all the companies is probably not generated to AI. It's probably just the situation that we're in. So I'm guessing this will stabilize and hopefully things will get better and there will be less people being laid off over time. Okay, so yeah, you can ask something more technical. If you have any questions, any specific questions, I can copy it and paste it into this, and it should be no problem. Okay. How you can build an Uno app in Windows and run in the bucket on Linux using Visual Studio. Okay. I will be more specific here. I will say Uno platform, so it does not confuse it with the game of Uno. I'm guessing it's not going to be completely correct, because if it's trained on older data, 2021 was... I'm not sure if Uno platform even had support for Linux at that point of time in September 2021. Like, probably yes, but I'm not sure. Okay, so this is definitely correct. So you get Visual Studio 2019 or newer, actually now only 2022. So that wouldn't work with 2019, I think. But Uno Platform Solution Templates is correct. You have those workloads requirements, yes. And then, okay, select WebAssembly as a minimum. Interesting, these cursors are blinking here, even though it's writing somewhere else. So there seems to be a UI bug. Okay, so it's what it's doing is explaining how to build a WebAssembly application and then run it on Linux, which is correct, because you can run a WebAssembly application on Linux. But I think the question was specifically about GTK, target of Uno platform, which is not there, and it's probably it's maybe because it wasn't there yet at the time of the data gathering. So yeah, this is this GPT-4 model. Yeah, actually, the preview that's available for Plus subscribers in ChatGPT. Any option for? Nice. Let's ask it. How about? Okay. So it is aware of Skia GTK version of Uno platform. Okay. So it seems that it will be able to do that. Alright, I will ask the question about the playbook right after this. Oh yes, that's right, that's right. It should have a much larger limit for input, so it should be able to take in like 15 pages of text. Let's see. I'll just let it generate this. Do you have some idea of a prompt that would let it generate such a large answer? Like, we could ask it to list all the words in English or something like that, maybe. Okay, so it's very specific about all that's needed. So preparing Linux machine, running the app on Linux. Yeah, it seems that this is valid answer. All right. Okay, so we'll finish here. So I will jump in for the next question, which is from Trico. Write an Ansible playbook that installs MySQL 5.7 on Ubuntu 22.04. But I don't know that, so you have to validate if it's actually correct or not. So please check it out. For MCNets, for the question of remote debugging for VS in Linux, you can do debugging, like you can use WSL, so Windows Subsystem for Linux, and run the application there as running on Ubuntu, running on Windows. But I don't think there is like remote debugging per se. I don't know. Maybe there is, but personally I haven't used it, so I only use the WSL debugging. Okay, so can you confirm if the answer makes sense? Raspbian. I mean, you can ask Jerome, because he was trying out Uno platform with Raspberry Pis and these IoT devices, so maybe he will give you some tips or some solution for that. Okay. If you want the whole question, the whole answer to be posted somewhere, I can do that as well, like on GitHub. I can put it here somewhere, like on Gist. Okay, the whole thing. And the formatting probably won't be too nice, but it should be all there. So let me give you the link here. Right. Hopefully you get it here. So let's go back and let's try the let's try the large and oh no, stop generating. Let's try the large answer. So please list all let's make it more interesting. Sorted by length. Feasible, okay. Well, that's not what we wanted. We want to try the limits. Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, let's do again this one. On history of sport climbing, my favorite sport. Okay, like this. Okay. Well, this is probably gonna be a long text generation, but it seems that it started and it's probably gonna continue. So let's maybe switch to another tab if it's gonna let us work in two tabs, and we can let it generate in the meantime in the background. So let's go to GPT-4. I'm not sure how far am I on the 100 messages limit, but we can continue playing with this while it's working. So some other tricky question that we can ask it. So let's see, something. Let's ask it to generate some code. Yeah. So what could be some interesting code to write? Oh well, let's actually do this. Let's see. Advent of code. I know that in the advent of code, it had problems on this assignment originally in the GPT 3.5 version. So maybe let's see if it can handle the input better this time or not. Okay, hopefully the number of spaces is correct here. It should be. So let's see. And I will need to verify it somehow. So let's do. Yeah, so I will just test it on this simple input. But I will need also. Oh, okay, it's taking input from string array. Okay. I need to ask it to change that to. But you can see that it's ignoring the white space around the D, for example, and C, because in the original text there was a significant white space, which is required, otherwise the code wouldn't work. So that's already a problem that needs to be fixed. But well, let's see. I will let it finish and then I will ask it to read the input from a file, and we'll see if that if it actually handles the white space correctly or not. In the meantime, feel free to post any other prompts that I can ask. We can do multiple at the same time, apparently. So, okay, so it seems this this chat already finished, and it stopped mid-sentence, mid-paragraph, which means that it's possible that the GPT-4 model inside of ChatGPT is still limited in length, as compared to the one that's going to be available in the OpenAI API for ChatGPT. So maybe you will be able to get the full response there, but not here because it's just limited for some reason. Yeah, because I can ask it to continue, which will make it continue, but it's not going to be a single answer, so it's kind of gonna defeat the purpose. So. Dirk asks if it's gonna be smart enough to split answers up to in several messages, and that is true. That it's often times out and stops, and you can see that it's the same thing that happened here. It just stopped answering, even though it was just in the second part of that 20,000 word answer. So it's not really complete. So I guess that is not resolved yet, at least in the ChatGPT UI. Maybe it's working in the GPT-4 API. Maybe there you can get just the whole answer and it's not gonna stop or time out. Dempish is asking if there is a maximum length of a response, and there definitely is a maximum length, and I think that's all described in the GPT-4. Let's see, GPT-4. There was a description of what it now. What are the limitations of that right now? Limitations? No, not here. it was somewhere in the announcement email, but it's gonna be probably somewhere on the website later as well. There is a limit around 15 pages of written text in terms of size of the prompt that it can handle. And the ChatGPT API actually requires you always to send the whole conversation to get the next answer. So it means that the limit probably applies to the whole conversation, not a single message, but it depends on how long the conversation is, and then it will probably just die out because it's gonna be too long. So let's go back to this and ask it. Yeah, I guess it's quite like Bing. Actually, Bing is using the same model for generating answers, and it's using it with cooperation with the Bing itself. So it's kind of better because you have access to live data on the internet, which is not available here. So in that way, the Bing AI is now better. I'm not sure why the access to internet is not available here, but probably because they don't actually have a search engine to use, even though it doesn't make sense because they could just use Bing or whatever. So I'm not sure. Or at least it would be nice if ChatGPT UI allowed you to access a specific URL and read from it, and base the answer on the contents of that website, which is something that Bing can do, and it's super useful when you have some, for example, manual of a device or some long text that you need to analyze. You can send it to it, and then it can give you answers based on the text, which is quite cool and useful. So let's see if this works or not. Okay. Let's copy the code. Put it here, and we'll read from input.txt. So I will just give it a text file here. I just create a simple text file. It's txt, make it content, copy always, and I will put in the sample inputs. So we'll see if it actually worked or not. So let's run it. Okay. So it's still not working. It's still not able to handle this problem correctly the first time. Before, when I was doing the Advent of Code series, it was able to finally get the answer right, but it took me like 1 hour or more to actually persuade it to read the input correctly. So this is kind of an example of where the AI fails, where it does not understand the input correctly, and you need to help it. And you need to help it understand it properly and explain where it got things wrong. And as a result, it then gives you finally the right answer. But you need to be the developer who understands the code, and you need to understand why it doesn't work. So while it can help you, it's still not 100%. I mean, they said that GPT-4 will support images and non-text input and maybe output, I'm not sure. So I'm not sure if it's gonna work in the API, but currently this UI, this ChatGPT UI does not handle images. I tried, so yeah. It does not allow me to, does not output images yet. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's gonna be available in the API and in the UI later, maybe. But right now it doesn't work. I can draw an image of a kitten. Yeah, it's it's not able to draw images directly. Okay, when it's fully released, maybe it's gonna have the 25k word cap, and maybe it's probably gonna be available in the API, which is currently joinable via waitlist. So you can go to the OpenAI website and OpenAI, and there is GPT-4, and you can join the API waitlist where you can sign up and get access to it earlier. So we'll see. We'll see if that's possible or not. Yeah, good. You are on the waitlist already. Okay, we can ask for the binary JPEG format. That's interesting. Yeah, so far it does not seem there is much things changed on what we tried. So far it handled everything similarly to what GPT 3.5 would do, but maybe we just didn't touch the right prompts that would be interesting and would show the difference between those two. The OpenAI playground, I'm not sure. OpenAI playground. So, how do I see it? I haven't used this now or recently, so I'm not sure. Is there a way to see if it's... Oh, so this is GPT-3. So I don't think so. There is no GPT... Ah, right, this is GPT-3. So there is no GPT-4 option yet. So it's probably coming. I'm not sure. By the way, there was gonna be the... there's gonna be a official announcement live stream on the website here in 16 minutes. So we'll probably join there after the 16 minutes are off. So I will go back here. Let's try to draw the kitten using... let's try the binary JPEG. Yeah. Or a kitten image. Okay, so it's gonna just ignore that prompt, apparently. No, I don't want that. Let's try at least generating the image using ASCII. Oh, Markdown, okay. James asked what is the playground. Like this is the ChatGPT user interface. Nice kitten. But there is also OpenAI playground where you can ask, when you can try out different models. So this is kind of more customizable than ChatGPT, and it allows you more to play more with the variables and, you know, customize it more. So yeah, you can ask it to continue. So I woke up in the middle of a forest, and it should continue the text. Yeah, so this is like a text completion. Yeah, it's available on playground.openai.com, so you can play with that there. Okay, let's try Markdown kitten. Draw a kitten in Markdown format. Okay. Well, ASCII representation, of course. Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing. Let's ask it. And tail. Let's see. So by the way, I'm working currently on this app that's going to be a client for the GPT cross-platform version of a client UI, and it's actually using the OpenAI API for ChatGPT, and it works quite well. Okay, this is kind of limited body. The question for Best of Africa is, does GPT-4 have web access? And we actually saw a few moments ago that it doesn't. So when you ask it, it will answer that it does not have access to the internet and to any URL. So you cannot yet access the internet. Maybe it's gonna come in the future, but it seems like the UI is still not updated at all for GPT-4. So there is no option of images or anything like that yet. So the API is basically allows you to send a conversation and get a response back. So it's using the same API, same model as ChatGPT, and it's sending that using the API instead of the UI on the website. And actually, the interesting thing is that the API requires you to always send the whole conversation. So I need always to take the whole conversation and send it as a unit. So I'm converting all of the chat messages from the history and sending the whole thing for it to be able to generate the one single response. So that's kind of interesting, but it's probable that the same thing is happening on the ChatGPT side of things. So the UI, even though if you take a look into the network, it sends only one question. So what is the year US was? Well, like, let's see. What is how many presidents did US have so far? If I ask this question, you can see that the payload of the question is just one message, and because OpenAI is storing the messages on the backend, they probably just didn't take the whole conversation, send it to the model, and get the next response back. So that's probably how it works right now. But if you use the API, you always need to send the whole conversation, because otherwise it wouldn't have access to the previous messages, because OpenAI is not storing anything on their servers if you're using the API. Yeah, so that's it. Any more questions that I can ask OpenAI GPT-4 to answer? Something ideally something tricky, something that could show the difference between GPT-4 and GPT 3.5. So okay, let's see. Send me the question about the circuit diagram. That's a good idea. Clean up the message. So, ready for your question. Oh, you already posted the question? Maybe I missed it. If you can post it again. Something unswearable. Not sure what that could be like. So, what is the meaning of life? But it's gonna just answer with some explanation that it's just an AI model which cannot do and stuff. You did send a link, but I didn't get the link. Probably. I didn't see the link, or I don't see it. Maybe it's on YouTube, because I'm getting the messages from Restream, so maybe I didn't receive it. Yeah, it's probably that the links are blocked. So maybe send the question as a whole. Let me see if I see it here in the UI. No, I don't see it. Yeah, it cannot analyze images based on a link because it doesn't have access to internet, and it will just answer it. It cannot go there. If you can send the text via like gist.github.com, maybe I will copy it from there. So some other questions. Some other questions that we can ask. It could be something more advanced. I mean, I remember that yeah, okay. Okay, that's a good question, MCNet. Y is 2 plus 2 equal to 5. Not correct mathematical statement under normal circumstances. Okay. Yeah, I also thought it's gonna be able to do images and stuff. So the question is if it's not able to do that yet because the UI is not updated yet for GPT-4, or if it's just not possible. And it's not gonna be possible. Hard to say. And maybe it's gonna be available in the GPT-4 API, which is not yet public, and there is a waitlist for that. So if you want to try that, you can join the waitlist and maybe get access to it earlier. But yes, it would be interesting to see if it is able to handle images. And right now there is no way to do that in the UI itself, unfortunately. I mean, we should join the developer live stream in 5 minutes. Maybe they will be able to show that live because it's not yet available in the UI, but they probably have some kind of preview UI or something like that. So we can check that and see what it can do. So let's go back to this one. Okay, so it did answer it quite interestingly, but it doesn't explain 2 plus 2 equal to 5. Yeah, nice. Good luck getting access to the API, it would be nice. Yeah, the question from Best of Africa is what's the latest data that's available to GPT-4? And the answer is it's the same thing as for GPT 3.5, which is September 2021. I asked it and it gave me the same answer. So I'm guessing it's the same thing. Okay. Okay, let's actually, if you couldn't send the link to Gist, you just send me this part, the hash after, like, your name / the hash of the Gist, and maybe then I will be able to just put it here. So you just send me this part. That should be enough. because it's not gonna be a link this way. And your username? I will need to go. Okay, nice. Thank you. Well, let's try it. So GPT-4. But you will have to again validate the answer because I don't know. So let's see if it is better than GPT 3.5 for you. MCNet says that the API answers are limited to 2048 tokens. And what is the token equivalent to? It's kind of like processing unit, right? But maybe the limit will be increased for GPT-4, I'm not sure. Yeah. So it's getting a quite exhaustive answer. So if you can verify for me if it makes sense or if it's just gibberish. Yeah, I mean, so far what we tried, it was kind of similar to GPT 3.5, but maybe we're just not asking the right things. And maybe it's gonna be better with the API when it's available, because it's gonna be able to process non-text input as well, which would be interesting. So this is the whole answer. I can. Okay, we did some math. Okay, if you want, I can post it to Gist again, so you can get it in the whole format, so you can check it. Yeah. Oh, interesting. I can post links, but probably because it's my stream, so that's probably the reason. So the stream is starting in 1 minute, so I guess I will wrap up here. And we can do some other session later with more GPT-4, but so far it wasn't that overwhelmingly different from GPT 3.5, at least from what we saw. So we will see if the live stream will show more interesting scenarios that are not yet available in the UI, especially non-text input and output. That would be amazing. So yeah. Okay, so there is a link for images guide. So let's see. I mean, I will paste the live stream link here so you can join that if you are interested. It's gonna happen very soon. So here you go. It's already starting. So have a great rest of your day. See the live stream. We will see what they tell us, and yeah, see you in some next video or some next live stream. Goodbye.